Hello, all you lovely internet people. My name is LashofSnow, and I hope you're all well. Now, if you're clicking on this, you've probably seen the other half of this little two-parter bit. This video will consist of my dislikes of Finland, what I don't like, and little aspects that kind of annoy me a little bit. It'll probably be over here somewhere on the sidebar for my likes. There's a lot more there, a lot more positivity there. I'll try not to be so negative in this video, but these are the things that kind of I dislike about Finland. First up, staring. Now, this might not be a problem in the bigger cities, but when we go to Finland, we live about 30-35 minutes kind of east of Lahti, in this little town and this little village. So when we go to stores there, I don't know if it's because it's a small town, they know everybody, and I'm not from that area. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they look. I'm not a small guy, I'm a big unit basically, and maybe it's because I'm larger and a bit chunkier they look at me. Maybe it's the fact that I'm big, imposing, and speak English that they stare. But apart from big cities, every time we go to like a smaller town or a smaller village, everyone would stare, and it's very, very off-putting. You walk into a store, you're like, right, let's get a trolley. You turn around, there's like 3 people down there are just kind of gawking at you, like. And it's very often because sometimes they don't even look away if you catch eyes with them. So if that person's looking at me there and I turn around and look at them, they'll just stare at me. It's like, it's a little bit off-putting. Nina is kind of used to it, she says. Them kind of looking at her, again, she must think it's the same kind of reason as me. She's speaking English to me, so she sticks out. She has suggested that if somebody ever just walks past and stares, just ask them what. Say, what? Or, Mida. And they'll just kind of go, ooh. Because of the whole Finnish socialising thing, everybody likes their own personal space. But that's my first dislike, is staring. Almost like a parallel to the first video, there was products from Finland I love. One of the dislikes here are some of the products I don't really like. And the ones I have wrote down here are blood pancakes. I just don't understand them. In the UK we have, well, maybe it's just Ireland, we have something known as black and white pudding. I don't know what white pudding is, but black pudding is effectively pig blood that's been dried and seasoned, and that's horrible. Never ever been a fan of that. When we went to Finland a few years back, Nina got blood pancakes. This is when she was still a meat eater and wasn't vegan. And I can remember lifting the package and looking at the back, and it was like pig's blood was 70% of it, and I was like, I just don't understand them. And in a way, my first dislike ties in perfectly well with my second thing on this list. Lingonberry and cloudberry jam. I don't understand. This also hints back to a previous video where I said I don't like pineapple and I don't like sweets with savouries. Why do you eat savoury food with jams? I don't understand that. So if you're eating blood pancakes and then you dip it in lingonberry jam, or even when we go to IKEA here, meatballs and lingonberry. I don't eat meatballs anymore, but when I used to, that always perplexed me. Now, sweet jams are fine with sweet items. Like during midsummer we would get these little pancakes that Nina's mum would make. They're like paper thin and they're really tasty. That's perfect with jam and like a sugary cream type thing. I just don't understand why people eat really savoury foods like blood pancakes with really sweetened jam. I don't understand. And it clearly is a Nordic thing. I just don't understand it. But again, as before with the pineapples and everything else, that's my opinion. You may disagree with me, and if you do, let me know below. I appreciate that. But it's just not for me. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Lots and lots and lots and lots of fish. Everywhere. Now, Finland is the same as other Nordic countries, is that their diet is made up quite a lot of fish and whatever meat they can hunt and things, and I can understand that. Nords are all fish lovers, that's 100% fine. But there is so much variety and so much oddness. Now, as I said previously, for 2018 I've been a pesco vegetarian anyway, so it's not as if I don't like fish. I mean, that's basically been my meat of choice for last year. Tuna, cod, what else do we have? We have things here called pollock as well, and then there's something else. That's fine, 100% fine. But when you take a lot of odd fish and put them in bread like this, what is it, kalokoko? I don't know. I just don't. I've never had it, and Nina has always said that when we go, I should have it. But I can remember if a few years back, I have uploaded a video on this channel actually, where I tried these little, I can't remember the names, moiko, little fish things. They're like tiny little fish like this size, and I can remember when Nina's dad brought them home, I was like, you just eat that? They have to be cooked and kind of gutted a little bit. And I can remember trying it. You've seen the video. It was not for me. Maybe I'm just not. I mean, in the UK, I don't like salmon or trout or anything like that. I'm a very simple fish eater. Cod, tuna, pollock, as I said, stuff like that. Prawns to a very, very small extent. If there's very small prawns, it's not so bad. But those giant king things that are like that, no thanks. But I understand your love for fish, but it's just not for me. Again, another parallel to the likes video. My next point is language. Yes, it is on the likes and dislikes. I love listening to it. I love the language, but the reason it's on this dislike list is because it is so hard to learn. For a native English speaker who is 30, it's hard to get those grammatical rules and structures and sounds of new letters into your head and keep them there. As I said, I do know some words and basic sentences, but by God, it's a hard language. It is a very hard language to get used to, as you have Swedish, Norwegian, Danish are all somewhat similar. Then you've got Icelandic, which is kind of again on its own but linked to the previous. You've got Finland over here on its own. What is it, closely related to Estonian? It's very close to that, and it's linked to Hungarian. But Finland sits on its own with its language. The sheer fact that it's so hard to learn, for me personally, I might not just be able to get it into my head and somebody older than me can, I don't know. But that's the only reason it's made my list. I don't dislike the language, I just dislike how hard it is to learn it. It's maybe a lazy bit on my part. Sorry. The final thing I want to talk about is something that I don't hate, it just perplexes me. And this is not to cause any offence, this is just my views on it, is church tax. As far as I'm led to believe, if you're a member of a church, the church takes like 1 or 2% of your monthly wage. To me, that is insane, because you're paying to be part of something that should be free. I know in the UK, if you belong to a church, you don't have to pay anything into it. It's not like a reoccurring, like almost like insurance. You have a reoccurring monthly payment for insurance, yes, but that covers you. Fair enough. I just don't understand the reasoning behind church tax, and maybe it's because I'm not from a religious background. I just don't understand. Here, as I said, you don't pay tax to be part of a church, you just are. Of course, you can donate your money, donate your time, donate whatever else you want, but there's not a mandatory law that says you have to do this. Personally, I would not want the church taking 2% of my wages. That's because I'm not I'm not religious in any way, shape or form. But when I was doing some research for this, it seems to be a mainly European thing. Because I've seen Finland listed, Austria, Germany, France. It seems to happen in mainland Europe, but not ours. So again, it's probably a cultural thing. And that's fine if you want to pay into the church for your beliefs. I'm not against that. You go ahead. Just personally, I don't understand it and wouldn't really do it. So I hope that caused no offence to anybody. It's just something that I can't wrap my head around. This is quite a short one. There was only 4 or 5 things on my dislike list. I really did try to kind of think of more, and it sounds awful, but because the likes completely outweighed the dislikes, I thought I have to try and think. There's nothing really else I dislike about it. Just blood pancakes, sweetened jam, church tax, fish everywhere, and the language to an extent. So, I hope you liked this video and don't think of it as me bad-mouthing Finland, because that is not what this is. I love Finland just as much as I love being from Northern Ireland. I do class it as my second home. Just have to learn that hard language. So as before, I hope you've liked it. If you have, hit the little like button below. If you haven't already, hit the sub button. Let's grow our little Finnish community here. And it would be much appreciated if you're watching this in Finland or anywhere else for that matter, to share it around. Share it as much as you can. Get us all in, get us all involved. Let's start a debate in the comments about why I'm wrong about everything. Tell me below as well, as I said about the debate, tell me below if there's something you agree with me here on, or do you disagree, or is there something else that I've maybe mentioned in a previous video that I said I've disliked and not remembered or something. But there we have it. Short video, straight to the point. It's a very Finnish way. Until next week guys, I will see you there. See you there. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.